What's up, Penguins? This is 2014, number 8 on genetic engineering and natural selection. A research team has genetically engineered a strain of fruit flies to eliminate errors during DNA replication. The team claims they will eliminate genetic variation in the engineered flies. A second research team claims that eliminating errors during DNA replication will not entirely eliminate genetic variation in the engineered flies. Part A asks us to provide one piece of evidence that would indicate new genetic variation has occurred in the engineered flies. So that means that I'm going to provide only one. The first one is the one that the readers are going to score. So how do I see that there is new variation? Well, number one, there's a new phenotype. The sequence may be different. The DNA sequence might be different. Maybe there's a new genotype. Maybe there's a difference in the chromosome, or maybe it's a different mRNA sequence, or the protein could have a different amino acid sequence. These are all visible things that could have happened with a change in the DNA. So a student says one piece of evidence that would indicate a new variation has occurred in engineered flies would be the appearance of a new phenotype. If all the flies were engineered to have black eyes, and if some generations down the line a red-eyed fly appeared, genetic variation would have occurred. Part B is to describe one mechanism that would lead to genetic variation in the engineered strain of flies. Again, we're only going to provide one here. The reader's only going to score the first one. So different ways that I could have genetic variation. Well, this has to do with sexual reproduction. There's a new combination of our alleles having to do with meiosis, talking about crossing over that occurs during prophase 1. Independent assortment that takes place during metaphase 1 that allows these homologous chromosomes to line up independently on the metaphase plate. Random fertilization of any sperm and any egg could then lead to a different new combination of those alleles. Immigration or gene flow, an individual from a different population flowing into a population that then brings a new gene. Viral infection could insert a DNA into the genome. You could have non-disjunction. Non-disjunction was when the sister chromosomes or the homologous chromosomes do not segregate, or one of them does not segregate during metaphase. And then the chromosomal rearrangements. So like large deletions, duplication, translocations, inversions could inactivate those genes, or just radiation that's going to cause a random change in our DNA. So a student says one mechanism that could lead to genetic variation in engineered flies would be crossing over during meiosis. This change of genetic information leads to more genetic variation because during meiosis, some parts of DNA are exchanged between adjacent chromosomes, which leads to different DNA sequences, which would cause genetic variation of the engineered group of flies. Part C is to describe how the variation contributes to the process of evolution. Well, evolution is just looking at how those changes then allow for an individual to be more favorable or less favorable. So genetic variation is based on phenotype variation, and that can be acted upon by natural selection. If there is no change in the variation, then there would be no phenotypic variation, which then natural selection cannot act on. So a student says genetic variation contributes to the process of evolution because it leads to the expression of different phenotypes. Depending on environmental conditions, one phenotype may be more advantageous for an organism than another. For example, if there are two kinds of birds, are short-billed and the other is long-billed, the long-billed beak allows the bird to gain more access to food. Then the long-billed phenotype is more fit than the short-billed phenotype. This will ultimately mean that the long-billed bird has more of a chance of living to reproduce age and will therefore have more offspring and will help the long-billed trait to continue to thrive, meaning that there will be more long-billed birds than short-billed birds in the population. Hope that was helpful. Remember, 8 out of 10 was just success by all.